as a veteran, small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools and technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Welcome once again to this, your Veteran Radio Show, the Veteran Chamber Radio Show, featuring military veterans, spouses, and community leaders making an impact in business, nonprofit, and the government for the veteran community. In the back of our producer, Michael Woods. Moderating our comments is our CEO and founder, Joseph Molina, and our community engagement coordinator, Daly Rivera. It's on Facebook, making sure that your questions get answered. But let me introduce you. We have a very special show for you today. We have a very special guest, Lacey Craig, who is a friend of the Veteran Chamber of Commerce. She's a military family member. She's a military brat, military advocate, multidimensional leader, a real estate agent with over 12 years of professional experience in hospitality and retail sales management. Lacey brings a specialized skill set to meet the individual clients she meets. And I'm going to have Lacey tell us a little bit what is her current role out in the community and how she is connected with a Veteran Chamber of Commerce. So welcome, Lacey.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And Joe is also here on our live right now, and he would like to give you a warm greeting as well as our community. Hello. Welcome, Joe.
Well, thank you, Laura. And it's always a pleasure to be part of the radio show. This is the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce radio show, and we wanted to bring this information across the nation to showcase veterans, but also family members of veterans. As a Chamber of Commerce, we embrace people like they are supporters of veterans, but also the veteran family, because we feel that when we are in the service, everyone comes in, our kids, our spouses, our parents, we're all part of it. So as a Veterans Chamber, we embrace them all. So we welcome all into the chamber. So we just wanted to say thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us what you do and how you are supporting veterans and how we can support you. But I'll let you tell your story, and I'm gonna let Laura do what she does best, which I have no clue how to do it. So Laura, please.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Yes, and then let me fill you in too, as I was introducing Lacey. She has a strong passion for people. She loves helping and making sure that all of us, including myself, including everyone out in the community that comes in contact with her, is achieving their dream by making sure that all of their realities when it comes to real estate are actually taking place. And that's really what she's doing right now. So her and I have a history from a previous work connection. But, again, without further ado, I want to make sure that Lacey tells us her story and how she ended up right now part of our Veteran Chamber of Commerce. So once again, welcome, and tell us, Lacey, what brings you into us today?
Awesome. Well, thanks, Laura. So I have a long history within the military. My dad served for over 38 years. So I knew when I got into the professional sector that I wanted to make sure to give back to the military families and communities as much as I felt like they had done for me when my dad was serving. So currently I'm a real estate agent serving California. And I got started with that about 6 months ago when I transitioned out of a big corporate career. I knew I wanted to do something different and go through a little bit of a change. And my passion for people and finding their dream home is really what led me to going into real estate and the ability to be a business manager. So I have over 12 years of professional experience in the retail field and management, and figured that it would be very transferable into the real estate environment to be able to find families their homes. I know that that's a huge concern for military families is, what do I do when I, get orders to go to a different base? What do I do about a house Do I live in on-base housing, or do I buy a house? Do I rent a house? So my goal is to really help educate and inform military families about some of the buying benefits that they have out there, so that they could really feel empowered to own a home and not have that fear of, if they have to move, what they would do with the house, or having that be an additional burden to them. So I have really worked on educating myself on VA loan benefits, being certified in military relocation, so that I can help those military families. I'm also very connected within the community here. I'm also on the board of directors for Veterans Legal Institute, and have been a part of that organization for over 6 years now. So I make sure that I stayed very tied to the community and our community organizations, including Blue Star Families and the USO, so that I could really understand what problems military families are facing and help them, not just with housing, but in general through their military careers and afterwards with their transition.
Yes, and our community is so grateful to have your connection and to your insights, and most importantly, your wealth of knowledge as far as advocating for our community, because you do bring in a great book of business and knowledge and everything for us. And I know you did mention, you really want to make sure right now at your current role how you want to help us, and you want to make sure that you are reaching as many military families be successful in acquiring their home. But let me just track back a little bit and ask you, as a business owner, because you are considered a business owner, what is your personal mission, and how does that tie in with what you currently have going on?
Yeah, so my personal mission is really about making sure that I'm continuing to be the subject matter expert, but then also to continue to grow and really understand my clients and get that personalized touch, because I think it's more than just a transaction. It's about understanding that this is the biggest purchase that most people will ever make in their life. And it can be very salesy sometimes. And I want to make sure personally that I am understanding and relating to my clients and really helping them find the right fit, and understanding what's important to them, and understanding what I can do to help support them in getting to where they want to go.
Absolutely. And you do, again, I can contest from personal experience, you do really go above and beyond to make sure that our needs are met. Whether you are part of a community environment and we are collaborating for something personal, something private, you really take everyone into consideration and everyone's needs, and you really go above and beyond. That's when this particular opportunity came through, I'm like, I want to talk to Lacey, and I want to make sure that I dive in a little bit farther into what she's doing and how this is really impacting our community. And with that being said, I want to ask you though, too, what action items do you think veteran business owners or those aspiring to be successful like you in this particular career track could benefit from? What tips would you share with them?
Yeah, I think this is so important, because in a previous life and role in corporations, I did a lot of veteran recruiting and veteran military spouse recruiting and family members. And I will tell you, the most important thing that any veteran business owner or transitioning veteran can do is really understand what their skills from the service are and how they're transferable to what they want to do. So often, I feel like military family members, spouses, veterans, they all undervalue themselves and underskill themselves, and then they're underjobbed and undervalued. So for anyone that's looking to start their business, grow their business, or enter into a corporate business or working for someone else, I would say really take the time to understand what it was that you excelled in and what your skill sets were in the military and how that translates into civilian, terminology or skill set, because that will really give you a leg up in understanding what business you should go into, what your strengths are, where you might need to leverage some business partners or some additional insights or videos or trainings where you may not have that specific insider education or experience from the military. But really take the time to understand what that value is, so that you know where that translates into the civilian workforce, because it's such a drastic shift, whether you're working for someone else or working for yourself. And I think veteran business owners have such an awesome discipline, and exception for customer service that that they really need to thrive on and remember as they're doing that.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably why a lot of entrepreneurship programs are very popular, or very, business related content is very popular among military spouses and veterans or family members, because it is, in fact, a well adapted discipline because of our skills and because of commitment. And we don't like to fail. We don't like to, we like to try things, but we also like to make sure that everything gets accomplished and take everything all the way to the end to make it successful. And I totally agree with you. Sometimes we very undervalue our skills. We don't give each other enough credit for everything that we do. Or sometimes we reflect back and say, "Oh, well, I just sell things," or I just work there, but I really didn't do a lot of stuff. And it's like, no, you did a lot of great things. You got to give yourself
Right.
tons of different highlights and a huge pat on the back for accomplishing so much, and taking that role and elevating it 4 times of what anybody else would have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now let's dive into your current role right now, which is home buying and helping military families with that. Now, I would like to ask you, because, I know that I lived on base for so many years, and I was always scared to go out and buy a home, things that I just didn't feel comfortable. And now, in a way, I regretted that because I hesitated for so many years. But what is one important thing that you would share right now with military families that they should consider when looking to buy a home, or considering living on base housing and then eventually transitioning to buying their home?
Yeah, I think that it really comes down to personal preference and what's important to you and what you're looking for. So, it's like anybody buying a home. If you want a dog, or if you have a growing family, or, maybe you don't want to have to upkeep a home, and you want to be able to rely on a landlord. I think that it's all personal consideration, but I will tell you, there has never been a better time to buy a house. The interest rates are at an all-time low. VA loan options are an amazing way for service members to be able to get a loan. And there's so many different ways to qualify and be able to buy a house with little to no money down and a very low interest rate right now, that your mortgage, more likely than not, could be less than rent. And BAH also can be considered as income to allow that to go towards your mortgage payment and consideration. So there are so many different options, but I think it's such a disservice, because the VA loan is such an awesome program to get military families into buying their own home without having to come up with either any money or very low money, that, they don't take advantage of that opportunity enough. And owning a home, especially right now, is so advantageous because of the interest rates, that payment can save you a ton of money and be less than renting. And I know that there is such a huge fear around buying and then having to relocate somewhere else. And, what do I do with my home? I know that here in California, you can't lose money on that. I mean, real estate investment in California is such a smart idea. And so I think even investing in that, now, especially those that are young in their careers and maybe have young families or are looking to have families, it's such a great investment opportunity that can actually save you money. And then there's so many amazing property management companies that you can hire out to rent the home if you have to move. So you don't have to have that responsibility. But there's so many benefits that I think military families overlook because of that fear of having to move.
Absolutely. And I think so many of us, of course, we carry that mindset that, oh, we're just here temporary, right? We're only going to be here for a while, but we underestimate the value of what that temporary assignment could actually do for our future. The investment, like you mentioned, we have those, especially here in California. Maybe in other states, I will not take that risk, but definitely here in California, the management companies, they have to be in compliance with so many different guidelines. The California is one of those really picky states that I would definitely not even hesitate to have several rental companies to make sure that they all well taken care of by external parties and all that. And those families that, sometimes don't think that they could be homeowners, just give it a chance and look, evaluate the different options. But I'm going to pause on that real quick, Lacey, so that in case anybody's joining us right now, if you're joining us, and this is a Veteran Radio Show, we are talking to Lacey Craig. She's a military family friend here of the Veteran Chamber of Commerce. She's also a realtor, and she specializes in VA loans and other great things for military families. She can be reached out at Lacey at powerspremier.com, and we're going to put in her information here, but just wanted to let you know that this is what is taking place today on the Veteran Radio Show. And our sponsor for today is bestconnections.org. They provide technology tools to help people with TBI and PTSD, and they expect future collaborations with the Veteran Chamber of Commerce, of course. So if you are interested in serving and supporting veterans with PTSD, get in touch with us, because we're looking for mentors for this particular program. So we thank Best Connections for their sponsorship today. Thank you. So Lacey, back to our discussion on home buying. We were talking about what do you do when you go back to other states, and what are some of the things that families can take advantage, right? But when looking for buying and renting, what are some of the benefits that you can think of right now of using a VA loan?
Yeah, definitely. So starting January 1st, 2020, the limits to VA lending were actually lifted. So there used to be a loan amount that you could take out for a capped loan amount for the VA loans, and that has since been lifted. So now there are a ton of lenders that you can actually do a VA loan with no down payment and very low financing options. So that really gives our military families an opportunity to own a home and have it be less than what they would be paying in rent, and be able to have that as an asset for their families, no matter what. And if they end up moving, then they can make the decision to sell, and hopefully it was a smart investment and they can make some money off of it. And if not, then they always have the option to rent it out. And I know that, I have some friends who would talk about not renting out their home out of fear. But there's so many different options with property management companies that could be recommended to you by your agent, or by other organizations that support military families specifically, and go above and beyond and don't charge a whole lot of money for managing the home, because they are supporting those military families. So there's a ton of programs out there and a ton of benefits to owning a house, especially for the military families, because there's so many benefits to the lending side.
Now, I know that sometimes military families are a little hesitant to talk to a realtor or to a loan agent, because it's dealing with money, and that can be sometimes a little bit tricky or just a sensitive subject. But walk me through the process of how did you, as a realtor agent, what kind of process did you go to make sure that you became a loan a VA accepted or approved, so that you can have these conversations with military families? What was that process like for you going through that experience?
Yeah, so I think that what's important is there's over 28,000 realtors in San Diego. So there's a lot to pick from. So as a military family, I think what's important to know is asking the right questions. So making sure that the real estate agent that you're hiring to help support you in finding your home or selling your home, it has those additional certifications. So there's additional classes and certifications that as real estate agents we can take. Like I have the certification in military family relocation that really helps us go above and beyond in understanding some of the barriers and obstacles that military families might face, so that we have that in-depth knowledge to help those families. So we become more experts to help with some of the things that they may have questions about. So I think if there's a military family looking for an agent, just asking, how familiar they are with working with military families, if they have any additional certifications that could help them in their home search, and just finding that out for themselves.
Absolutely. And that's very important because, again, it is a little sort of a question and a very important subject for military families to go through and question their finances and question the process, whether or not they're qualified. But when you add someone who knows it, who has gone through the training, but also has that credibility like yourself, because you've been part of the military lifestyle. You understand all of those, situations that can go through our mind and questions and things of that nature. Now, I do have a question here. Someone asked, and they're asking, how can a veteran rent a home? So let's say a veteran opens or they buy their home. How can the veteran rent their home with the VA loan? Is that even possible?
So that's a really great question. So when you're buying on a VA loan, you want to make sure that that's going to be your primary residence for a certain amount of time. And this is where it's really important to talk to a lender that is educated and very familiar with VA lending, because they can help answer the questions around the interest rate, how long you have to live in the home before you can rent it out, and some of the other restrictions. So I think that it's important to talk to a lender and ask those questions if that's the motivation. But it is possible. So if you're buying with a VA loan, it is possible to then rent the house. There's a lot of possibilities with the VA loans, including taking out another VA loan if there's a second house that you want to buy. So I think that there's a lot of possibilities that a certified lender that specifically does VA lending is really important for a veteran to link up with if they're interested in taking that loan option.
And, I think our community right now has changed a lot more now, and they have a little more knowledge. But I know the younger couples sometimes affiliate the VA to veterans, to retirees. But who can actually get a VA loan? At what age or at what stage of the military lifestyle can they get a VA loan or qualify for it?
Yeah, any. So as long as you're a qualifying adult. So as long as you can, as long as you are of age to buy a home, you can use a VA loan. And I try not to quote percentages and all of that because the market changes every single day. But that is very dependent in terms of the rate. But if you're of age and you can buy a home and you have the funding, credit scores are more flexible also. So I don't want to quote a credit score, but VA loans are a little bit more forgiving with that. So if you're looking at private lenders that specify in VA lending, then they can really help out with the credit scores and how to fix that and get it to where you can maximize your interest rate. So there's no age minimum and at maximum other than how old you have to be to buy a house.
That's great. And again, if I was to tell my younger self many years ago as a military couple family, definitely would have invested a lot more earlier into buying a home. I have we have a comment here and a question from Abiud Montes here on Facebook. Or he's on he's on YouTube. How many times can a veteran use his VA loan? How many times? How many homes can I buy, Lacey? Buy me many homes.
So that's a great question, and it's a little complicated, so I'll just give you the simple version. So it is possible to have more than one VA loan at a time. It's not typical. Usually, if a buyer buys a home on a VA loan and they're looking to buy a second home, they either have to go conventional variable loan lending, just depending, or there is the possibility of doing a VA loan, but also having to put a down payment. So there's a multitude of choices. It's not a one and done. So if you have one VA loan for a home and you pay off that loan, you can use a VA loan to get another home again. So that's the simplified version to the answer of that question. But there's a lot more that goes into the lending side of that.
That's cool. Well, thank you for that. Now, I want to ask you, as we're getting closer to wrap up here, just what do you have currently going on with your particular book of business? And is there anything else that we can do to help you and expand your reach more military families and make sure that we are getting those dreams come true when it comes to buying a home?
Yeah, I think that with the world changing with COVID right now, I'm really trying to reestablish and reevaluate my business and redefine what normal looks like. So instead of meeting clients at open houses and networking events, I've had to switch to a lot of virtual platforms. So, in real estate, we're not shut down. We're actually an essential business. So we can do 360 virtual tours. The market is actually thriving right now. So real estate is not dead. I know there's talk on the street about all of that, but I want to squash those rumors. It's very much alive, and there are so many innovative ways to show houses. So for me, it's making videos, informing my clients, doing exactly things like this, B2B, staying connected with the community so that I understand what questions and fears clients have as this market and economy are changing a little bit, and staying relevant in a more virtual platform.
We love that. We love that. Relevancy, it's the key right now to the new normal. And with that, how can we get a hold of you? What is the best preferred choice for us to, or any of us who wants to buy a home or get, in contact with you to talk to you?
That's a great question. So I do have my own website. I know that it's going to be shown up here, but for those of you listening in, it's http:// Lacey, LACEY, thecahomefinder.com. We have updates on listed properties on there all the time. There are some houses that are listed with the 360 virtual view. But if not, I have a selfie stick, a drone. I'm more than willing to go into a house and do a live tour, whatever it takes, so that way the clients are comfortable with what they're seeing and what they're interested in home. So we're doing all of that so that we can still make those dreams come true for those homeowners.
Absolutely. And I really, 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 I want to absolutely contest to what Lacey just said. She will do whatever needs to be necessary for you to make sure that you get hands-on, eyes-on, whatever it is, have the virtual format, new normal, so that you can, review the property or any other properties that you're thinking about. But most importantly, to just get the discussion going. We just posted her email. Just get the discussion going, and how you can qualify for a BA loan, and what will be the process. How many weeks do you think you might be looking into planning for that? Or maybe right now it's not the right timing, but it would be in a couple of months, or in 3 months, 6 months, when you're thinking about relocating to California. You want to make sure that you have people in your backyard who are familiar with our community, who are friends of the Veteran Chamber of Commerce, who are friends of our military community in Southern California. And that's someone that I definitely would vouch and refer to, Lacey Craig, formerly known as my friend out in the recruiting world. So, but with that, I just want to also take a moment to acknowledge Abud Montes, who is watching us and listening through YouTube. Kurt Gies from the American Legion in Florida. So thank you so much for watching. And if you are here watching this as we end this, make sure that you do the thumbs like. Yep, make sure that you like us and that you subscribe, because we have this Veteran Radio Show every week, every Friday at 1:30. We have different guests, different subjects, and we bring you all of our local communities in actions. And I do have one more comment. Says Veteran Radio Show says, thank you for what you do for all veterans. Okay, thank you so much, Abud. We definitely thank you as well for being a valued member of our military community and supported of this radio show. And I'm going to take this time to bring in Joe, who is going to take some time to acknowledge and do a big shout out. I can't tell you, but before we go, I just want to thank you, Lacey, for giving us your time and knowledge. And we look forward to collaborating with you and bringing you back again to give us an update on all these great things that are going on in our community, especially when it comes to the real estate market and how you continue to advance your book of business on that. And is Joe here ready to come back? There
Thank
he
you, Laura.
is. Thank you.
I'm all ready to come back. And I want to thank you, Lacey, for what you're doing. And I know you mentioned about the number of realtors in California. There's like over 180,000 realtors. So how to find out ways to
not everyone like Lacey Craig right here. So no one would have a nice, warm heart and caring heart like Lacey. I can tell you
what I was going to say, because we really embrace people like you who are veteran ready, who understand the military community, who are truly going way beyond the call of duty to help veterans. There's a lot of people out there who want to sell a home. Very few people really want to focus on the veteran family and not so much on their commission. And I really would like to invite you, because I think you'll be a great leader for what we do as we identify, the team is identify and verify veteran-friendly realtors and veteran-friendly lenders, because the way to prevent, for us, the way to prevent homelessness amongst veterans is to help them get a home. Home is the foundation of our family. It's really hard to move in life without having that stability. So I'm looking forward to working with you on this under the Housing for Heroes project and connect you with that, because I think you will be a key person, at least in San Diego, if not beyond, to help bring that group of realtors who have the heart that you do, who want to help veterans the way you do, and then basically be the voice and action of the veteran community in San Diego. So when people want to buy a home, they go with a veteran-minded individual and not just someone who wants to make a buck. Because
Right.
it's so easy to do. So that's what
Absolutely.
as a chamber, we took the lead in identifying and verifying through the veteran-friendly program. So, and which I work with you later on that. So I really see you as the profile of that mentor. When I saw you, what you and Laura were talking about, totally, you fit awesomely to that program. So
You had me at hello. You had me at hello. That's what. Oh, that's all you have to say, Joe.
you
You had
have
me
me
at
on
hello.
okay.
And talking
Thank
about
you,
heroes,
Joe.
in our community, and going proactively and doing a great thing. I think you have a great message for one of our members in our community, right?
Absolutely. So I really would like to recognize the CTAP program. CTAP program with Janice leading the program, and we have the current on the screen. That's how she is. She does an awesome program of helping transition veterans once they get out of the military to how to land their new mission, to identify where they're going to go next, whether on the job, on the employment, and getting the training that they need. According to what I know, they have a huge, tremendous ranking. They have like 85% success rate, which is amazing. I mean,
That's right.
community college can say that much. So, Janice, thank you very much for what you do, and it's an honor to kind of celebrate you with this kind of brief and short thank you for how you're serving the community, and always happy to support your efforts and kind of go behind and kind of supporting what you do. So yes, we just wanted to say thank you. Laura loves you. Everybody who works with you loves you. So we just want to say thank you for what you do and for being part of our community.
Absolutely. And those of you who are looking for your next opportunity when it comes to career, so that you can qualify to buy a home, make sure that you see BedCTAP and get enrolled into one of their programs, because, like Joe mentioned, they do have 85% success rate, and they work with a lot of local San Diego nonprofits, and not just local, but nationwide. They have a lot of great partners in the employment spacing, and they really are the true experts
Yes,
when it comes
and
to placing. And Lacey, you're familiar. You collaborated, Lacey, right? Lacey is a
Yep,
friend of
yep.
BedCTAP as well.
I've see Janice and I have crossed paths so many times in the employment world. So I can't speak highly enough of the program and of Janice. So yeah, congratulations, Janice. That's awesome. Thank you for all that you're doing for the military community.
Great.
yes,
Thank you. Thank you, Lacey. Now we're going to quick wrap it up because our producer here is about getting ready to end this segment. But before we go, Lacey, is there anything we can do to support you, and then we can do for you now before we move away from this radio show segment?
I think you guys are doing amazing things by empowering veterans in their in the messaging by all of the hosts and just having this show. So I think continue to have people on the show that are educating the military community and families so that they can continue to live a better life and empower themselves and go run those businesses.
That's right. Thank you so much. And thank you. And with that, we're just going to come to an end. We're going to give it a wrap. And this is the Veteran Radio Show, where we feature military veterans, spouses, and community leaders who are making a big impact in our local businesses, nonprofits, and governments. The format explores different readiness of kinds and different times. We define what is heroism, action, and leadership in our community. So you want to be a guest, make sure that you like us, you follow us, as well as submit your information to our website. And we'll be happy to have you here and share what you have to provide for a military veteran community and families. And we'd love to connect you and work with you as well. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.